Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you guys are new here, welcome. My name is Maddie. I have 3 kids, a 2-year-old, 5-month-old, and a 1-month-old. For today's video, we're going to be talking about my 17 and pregnant story. So the story of how I got pregnant with my first son. I just wanted to remake this video. I've made it once before, but I was super immature. I just did not make everything flow correctly. So I wrote everything down and I just want to put it all into a detailed story for you guys because I know I've been getting a lot of new subscribers and I want you guys to know my story. So let's get right into today's video. So our story begins on April 21st, 2018. My husband and I went to prom this day and he asked me to be his girlfriend. So we started dating. One thing led to another and we were not using protection. We had a detailed conversation that we were perfectly fine with not having a baby, but if I got pregnant then everything would be perfectly fine and that we would figure it out and we would be mature adults. We were not using our brains. We were not mature adults at this time, so we were just childish and we were not thinking things through. So we started dating late April and I found out I was pregnant in late July. So we had been together for 3 short months. Finding out I was pregnant was horrifying, actually. So the day I found out I was pregnant, the previous night my husband and I had walked to Walmart and we just bought a pregnancy test, and I read that it's best to take pregnancy tests in the morning because that's when your HCG is the highest. So I waited till the next morning. It was a Monday morning. School was that same day. I woke up early because I could not even sleep the night before. I was so anxious to find out if I was pregnant or not, and I was so sure that the test was going to be negative. But I woke up at 5 o'clock that morning and I went pee, took the test, and I didn't even look at the test. I threw it in my backpack and I went on with my morning. I got ready for the day. I was so scared to look at that test. My husband had been asking me, like, did you take the test yet? What are the results? And I just told him, I have not looked at it yet. I'll let you know in a little bit. So I waited for my parents to leave for work, and once they did, I decided to look at the pregnancy test, and I was about to walk to school. So I took the pregnancy test out of my backpack and it was super positive. The plus sign was very, very, very there and very, very, very strong. I sent my husband a picture of the pregnancy test and he was like, oh shit, like what are we gonna do? What did we get ourselves into? He was also sure that I was going to get a negative pregnancy test, but it was positive and we were just like in shock. So when I walked to school and we walk up to each other, we did not even know what to say to each other. We were in complete shock with each other, with the situation. We just didn't know what we were going to do. We said to each other that everything would be perfectly fine and that we would become adults or whatever, but we didn't even know what that meant. We didn't know what becoming adults meant, and we both did not have a job. We both did not have our driver's license. We were both 17 years old, super immature, not knowing what we got ourselves into. So from there, we just kind of kept to ourselves for about a week. We researched what we should do for pregnancy and all the little things. So it says like go to the doctor, get prenatals, things like that. So my husband and I walked to Rite Aid one day after school, got some prenatals. The first person I told was my school nurse. My school nurse was very supportive and she just was trying to stay strong for me because I really did not know what to do. I didn't know how to tell my mom. My mom had told me time and time again, do not get pregnant at a young age, because my mom got pregnant when she was 16 and she had me when she was 17, and she just didn't want me to go through what she went through because my dad was a horrible person, a horrible dad, and he was never there for me. So my mom just didn't want me to go through that same thing. My nurse sent me to Planned Parenthood, and at Planned Parenthood they just confirmed the pregnancy with a at-home pregnancy test, and they just gave me advice on how to tell my parents and what I should do and just everything along those lines. And they also signed my husband and I up for some Planned Parenthood classes. Those classes would just take place every single week for the rest of my pregnancy, just learning everything about pregnancy and everything about being a mom and being a dad and just everything you need to know. So we did all of those classes, by the way, and we got a free car seat at the end of that. But from Planned Parenthood, they sent me to go to the doctor, and at the doctor, it was just another confirmed pregnancy test. They basically just set me up with more appointments throughout the months, and They said they would keep it confidential for my parents never to find out if I didn't want them to know, and to just bring my insurance and things like that. So I did not even know that you could go to the doctor without your parents knowing if you're underage, but you can also sign yourself out of school without your parents knowing. You can leave school without your parents knowing, especially if you're pregnant, which I don't really agree with now that I'm a mom and I am an adult and I'm more mature now. I just don't see why that is the better option rather than just letting the parents know. I mean, I know some parents will kick their kids out or even worse than that, so I understand from that standpoint. It's hard for me to understand from myself, putting myself in those shoes. So from the doctor, they also told me that I had a weird concerning lump in my breast, and that made me want to tell my mom very badly because it was just scary the way the doctor worded it, and I didn't understand, and my mom would understand if I told her, but I just decided not to tell her. And I was 6 weeks pregnant when I went to the doctor. So from there, I got blood work done, things like that throughout the weeks. When I was 7 weeks pregnant, I started getting really nauseous. I remember one day my husband was going to his mom's house. I wanted to go with him, so they picked me up from my house. I was very nauseous in the car. I was very close to throwing up. When we got to the house, I just couldn't get out of his bed because I was going to throw up if I did. His older sister wanted to make me some food, and I just kept rejecting, and I knew she knew something, so I was just like, we should just tell your family because I have a feeling they won't react in a bad way. So we ended up telling his family that day. We went out in the backyard where they were all hanging out, and when we told his mom and my husband's mom's boyfriend, they were very supportive, and they just told us that they would be there for us whenever we needed them. If I got kicked out of the house, that we could move in with them and things like that. But I also told her how I haven't had an official doctor's appointment yet, so that same day they tried to take me to a clinic and tried to get me into the doctor, but they were closed because it was Saturday. So for a few weeks after we told Sam's family, we did not tell anybody else. We kept to ourselves. We were just going to school, going to Planned Parenthood every Wednesday, especially because after school I would be able to walk home with my husband and stay with him for a few hours at his house, and then I would go home at night, so it was easy for us to go to Planned Parenthood without my parents knowing. It was also really hard for me to hide my pregnancy from my family because I was a big eater before I got pregnant, and while I was pregnant I could not eat dinner. Especially if I ate dinner right after that, I would have to go to the bathroom and get sick, so it was just really hard to keep it from them. So this all leads up to when I was 11 weeks pregnant. I went with my mom to one of my sister's softball tournament barbecues. It was like the end of the season barbecue. They were all getting together. During that barbecue, I was really nauseous of the smell of the meat that was being cooked. Since I was really nauseous to the smell of the meat that was being cooked, my mom was kind of like, what's going on with you? You're acting kind of weird. What, are you pregnant? And she was just kind of playing, and I was like, no, I'm not pregnant. But she knows when I'm lying, so she asked me again. She was like, Maddie, are you pregnant? And I was like, I don't know, because I just didn't know what to say at that point. And she was like, I actually haven't bought you pads in a really long time. Why haven't I bought you pads? Are you pregnant? And she kept pressuring that. And I was like, I don't know if I'm pregnant. I haven't got my period this month. And she kind of just said, when we get home, you're going to take a pregnancy test, and if you're pregnant, you're going to really wish that you weren't. And I was like, okay. So I kind of walked away from her and acted like I was going to talk to other people. When I walked away, I texted my husband and I told him, my mom is going to find out tonight. I am very scared. I was freaking out. I was sending him like a million Snapchats per second. And he was just basically like freaking out too at first. And then he tried to calm me down and say, she probably won't have a bad reaction. Just keep calm and don't act like anything's up. Don't act like you know you're pregnant, and we'll see what happens once she finds out. So that is going to be the end of my 17 and pregnant story, because next I'm going to have to tell you guys the story of my parents finding out that I was pregnant, and I'm also going to tell you guys how they treated me throughout my entire pregnancy and how things changed once my son was born. So you guys might want to stick around for that because it was very intense, and it was an intense situation, and a lot of things happened, and a lot of things happened to my husband, a lot of things happened to me, and my parents were, I'm just gonna leave it at that. So if you guys enjoyed today's video, make sure to give it a big thumbs up, and if you're new here, make sure you hit that subscribe button and hit that notification bell so you get notified every single time I post a video. I hope to see you all in my next video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Bye guys.